So you see this inward turn in the cell. So that's where I saw one area of rotation here near Delaware, and there was a secondary right here, a little bit due west of Prattsburg. And that's where, when you see this kind of change in color where the green is bending in, that can represent some rotation, not a guaranteed tornado signature, not the strongest I've seen, but that's where we are seeing some of that weak rotation, and that's Osgood there just to the southwest. So this is just northeast now of Osgood and continuing to make its way up closer to the Sunman area. But obviously, this is Ripley County, a little bit more of a rural area. You've got some very defined county roads out there, but this is quickly moving to the northeast, and this tornado warning will be in effect until 2 p.m. as this storm cell continues to make its way to the northeast. Little just kind of gut check on what else is out there, though. It's not just this cell, folks. We are starting to see some isolated thunderstorms popping in other locations. We've got, this cell up near Springboro and Franklin. This just developed in the last 15, 20 minutes, came out of nothing. There was some sunshine out there, so there's definitely some energy available. We also have a line of thunderstorms developing. I'm going to switch over radar sources. Look at what's coming up just shy of Owenton and Vivi right now. I mean, any of these are kind of rolling into an environment where there's a lot of energy available. We've got some of that daytime heating right now. I would not be surprised if we don't see some additional warnings, and I'll kind of circle what I'm talking about here. This cell west of Vivi, that has really strengthened here in the last 15 to 20 minutes, so showing some signs of potentially going severe, and the lightning associated with it is, kind of an indication of that. You also have this cell southwest of Lawrenceburg, and this is probably what's going to be the closest call to coming in on the city's west side or out toward Cleves, eventually into Harrison. That too definitely showing some strength as it continues there to the northeast. So this line of broken thunderstorms, even the National Weather Service at one point considering putting out a severe thunderstorm watch for us, but at this point nothing has been issued. So they did just put out, the National Weather Service put out a kind of an update on that cell. Still continuing the tornado warning, not dropping it at this point. It's still capable of producing a tornado. It says near Milan and moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So again, that very quick motion. Again, Milan, you guys are really not under the gun with this. You're actually technically not even included with this tornado warning. It's up near Delaware and between there and Batesville. So if you're in Batesville and Sunman, those are really the locations right now where I would say make sure you're in that tornado shelter as this continues to quickly advance there to the northeast. It's just really, are we or are we not seeing any rotation with this storm? I should be getting a new scan, a new couplet in here shortly, and you can see how that kind of is playing out. So there's Delaware, Prattsburg. This not really the tightest, even the rotation that we're seeing, and there's the new scan that just came in near Belmer Corner. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, but you can see just down here to the southwest, that again heading towards Sunman, but it's not the strongest rotation couplet that I've seen. Now here's also another problem with where this storm is currently located out there in Ripley County. You have multiple radar sites available to see it, but all of which are shooting well into the upper portions of the thunderstorm. So we're not getting a really good lower level view of this, just inherently with the way that radar works. So we are kind of tapping into storm spotters, and the Skywarn storm spotting team is headed into this area. They were near Sunman. They're kind of getting in position just to get a better look on the cell. But again, the rotation here just not looking like the strongest thing that honestly I've seen. But there you can definitely concur that it is a strong thunderstorm coming through. I would still make sure you're inside and in that lowest, most interior room, away from exterior windows and doors as this continues to move to the northeast. Also in the path of the storm, Spades, Pentown, Sunman. Let's put a little speed on this and talk about what time it's going to get into some of these locations. So we're moving at 55 miles per hour, Sunman, 150. So you're 7 minutes out for this arriving to your location. Brookville would be 204. It's going to be a little bit longer for it to get all the way up to Brookville. We'll see if it continues to hold those severe indications as it gets into your area. But if you're in Delaware, Napoleon, you are currently in the clear on this system or on that cell for that tornado warning. But in Sunman, you are still under the gun with this tornado warning at this point that is in effect until 2 p.m. this afternoon. If you are just joining us at this moment, I'm 9 First Warning meteorologist Jennifer Ketchmark. And when it comes to tornado warnings, we stay on the air. Make sure you guys get the very latest of what is going on. And if it does happen to, drop in intensity and we get out of that rotation signature, of course, we'll get back to programming as soon as possible. But this is still in effect out in portions of Ripley County. You can see there, Sunman, the cell is still just due west of you right now. Here is I-74. So this is also going to cross the interstate here within the next 15 minutes. And then it will get into portions of Dearborn County. This black line here is the division line into Dearborn County. So it's Ripley, Dearborn, and portions of Franklin County under this tornado warning until 2 p.m. this afternoon. And this really spun up about 15-20 minutes ago. It was a quick little couplet there on the radar just near Osgood. It was the Indianapolis radar that picked it up, and as it has continued to move here northeast at 55 miles per hour, and it's not even looking as defined as it once did, but still, because that rotation was there, it's obviously being monitored very closely by the National Weather Service, and we're continuing to track it as it makes that progress to the northeast. Just checking the chat room, still not seeing anything glaring out of there. We've got storm chasers currently positioned in Holton and Versailles and a little east of Osgood, so getting eyes on the storm. Nothing confirmed from spotters out there of a tornado. So this is purely radar indicated. But again here, I want to make sure you guys see, and I'll jump back into the chroma key just to give you a better idea of what's still to come this afternoon. This is that low-end severe weather threat that, I talked about all morning long, that as the cells developed in that 1, 2, 3 o'clock time frame, we would have that limited amount of energy and moisture available, the cold front coming through. Like this line, there's no doubt about it. That's your cold front coming into the tri-state. And these storms, as they're rolling in, they're coming into an environment where, I even had friends up in northern Butler County reporting sunshine. Sunshine just increases severe weather chances. So as any of these cells now move into Dearborn County, Hamilton County, Butler County, they're really moving into a very favorable environment for not only for the storms to continue, like that's a guarantee, but for the storms to intensify. And that's why even the National Weather Service has been considering adding a severe thunderstorm watch for portions of the tri-state. I'm waiting for it to ding or to give me some sort of indication that that's been issued. It has not at this point, but you can see they are obviously starting to see a few cells out there that are turning a little stronger, but I would not be surprised if we end up with some warnings along, the line that's coming into Dearborn County or they're just north of Vevey, because all of this over the next, I would say, hour, this is going to progress into that kind of west side of Hamilton County, definitely into Butler County and a bit there even into Boone County. I would say that cell south of Vevey is what will have a little bit more strength with it. The rain that's off to the east, not of severe concern right now. I know earlier today I talked a lot about how even the map from the storm prediction showed that slight risk of severe weather in our eastern spots. It's not lining up that way. It's the west. That's where a lot of the energy has been available here in the last 2 hours, and that's exactly where the strongest storms have been popping in, that just available heat and energy. So with the latest velocity scan, let's jump back into just looking for rotation. We're looking for red and green to be near each other. Very, very murky looking. Like that's not what I would consider a strong couplet in any way, shape, or form, whether it's the Indianapolis radar, that's the radar out of here locally. Yeah, a very, very weak rotation at this point. It is not looking like a glaring issue. And it looks like, so they have now put out some basically pre-warnings. They're warnings that the National Weather Service puts out, statements basically saying, hey, these are some stronger cells that we're definitely watching. And this actually lines up exactly with what I just took you through on the air there, these stronger cells down near Dillsboro. This is the one I was talking about, from Sparta to Dillsboro down into Pleasant. The National Weather Service put out a statement on this one basically saying it's going to bring some wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour. Half-inch hail possible with that cell. And it's moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So not quite strong enough to get a severe thunderstorm warning. Typically for that, you need 1-inch diameter hail to get into a severe thunderstorm warning. And it's just not up to that criteria. And with the tornado warning, they are not backing down on it yet. So they're still saying that they're seeing some very weak rotation with this cell now near Batesville. And as you guys can see here, that is really east of Batesville. If you live in Batesville proper, I would say the east side of town, we've got a little bit of rotation there, or at least the thunderstorm is there. Morris and into Penn Towns, Spades, Sunman, you're probably more a little east of this. I would still stay in your tornado shelter at this point, but then getting up to St. Mary's, still stay in your shelter at this point. And then there along the I-74 corridor, we're still looking at the path of this tornado-warned cell as it continues to move to the northeast at around 55 miles per hour. There's the latest radar scan just in. Look at the intensity of that rain that's coming in. And when you see the deep purples and the blacks, that represents a lot of times the potential for hail. So let me just tag this storm and see what we're getting. Yeah, about a half-inch hail possible there with what's popping just east of Batesville. So again, this would also, if there was rotation, this barren feature, this barren button is what we call it, it would show and indicate if there was rotation, you'd see the reds, the greens, the yellows. That would at least show us like, yes, even bigger elements in the radar functions are seeing this rotation. And it's not. It's really, a lot of it is what looks like some hail. That's what we're seeing there in Morris, and that kind of lines up with those black, those dark purple returns that I was talking about. So probably hail is a little bit more of an issue at this point. The rotation not looking as glaringly obvious as what we saw earlier when this was all the way back in Osgood. And even if we look at kind of, yeah, so there's a little bit of a hail indication there. This is another feature that we have from our radar system. And I'll put it in motion just to give us a little bit better perspective. In the last 30 minutes, yeah, it pops in pretty well there between Batesville and Sunman. So it is starting to show some history of hail, that potential. But when it comes to velocity, we can look at how long shear, how much rotation has been, and it's not looking glaring, which is a good thing. Like, we don't want a tornado to be touching down and to be creating any damage at this point. The rotation that's visible on radar is very loose. We're not looking at any tight couplets with this system, but there is definitely no doubt that this is a decent little thunderstorm there. Now on the I-74 interstate, impacting County Road 1500 North. Go ahead, Taylor. Go ahead and tell. Oh, we did get the severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that we probably would get a severe thunderstorm watch. Or at least there was about a 60% chance. So let me pop that map in. It is not populated yet. We'll see if this falls in. Looks like they are issuing a severe thunderstorm watch until it's not populating yet, but it'll be until later on this evening. It's probably going to encompass several of our counties. Other storms that are being monitored as well right now. Adams County. Let me pop back over to the radar. Taylor, if that watch does populate, let me know. Taylor Nimmo also here with me this afternoon, keeping an eye on this. And again, if you're with us, there it is. There's the severe thunderstorm watch. So this is for, and it makes sense as it moves into these locations. New severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for Hamilton County, into Butler, Warren, Claremont, Brown, Adams, Highland, Clinton County, and then you've got Fayette, Franklin, and Union County in Indiana. This will be in effect until 9 o'clock this evening. Realistically for us, our biggest threat for if we were to see something severe is honestly going to be between now and about 5 p.m. But you'll notice this watch goes all the way up through Dayton, Sydney, Columbus, and Delaware. There in Ohio. So that's the later portion of this is definitely for those more northern extent. We are really on the earlier side of this severe thunderstorm watch. So again, new severe thunderstorm watch has just been issued for several of our tri-state counties. Nobody in northern Kentucky included in this, and just 3 of our Indiana counties have been added. But that's all the counties here in yellow that you're seeing on the map. That's your severe thunderstorm watch. We'll get that tweeted out as well, just so you have a better perspective on, the counties that are listed. But even though we do have a tornado warning, I know it gets the top billing. It kind of is a glaring thing, like, okay, we've got a tornado warning. But the severe thunderstorm warnings, that's what this is more out for. And hail seems to be something that is popping up quickly. We've got a lot of strength happening in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So these are able to shoot up quickly into the atmosphere and get decently tall. And that's promoting some of the hail. And I've seen some hail indications within that line that's now near Batesville, approaching Brookville, down toward Versailles. And those are the cells that are now going to move into this same zone. So again, nothing severe, at least showing up out in what's happening in Highland County, a little bit of weak rotation down in Adams County, so we will continue to keep an eye on that. But it's really just that one tornado warning that we're left with right now, leaving portions of, that would be Ripley County and about to move into Dearborn County. And here's the latest look at it. So tornado warning still in effect for Ripley County, Dearborn County, and Franklin County until 2 p.m. The rotation on this has not been the most robust. That's about the best way to put it. It has not been the strongest I've seen. Now, in times past, I've seen very little rotation, and we've gotten confirmation of EF0. So if it was a tornado, it would be a very weak one, minor damage, maybe some tree limbs, maybe some shingles. You're not talking about a long track, wide-based, any type of tornado of that effect. So if that kind of helps put it into perspective for you. But even here, looking at the latest radar scans, where the storm is at its worst right now, between Sunman and the interstate, I mean, it's not the greatest area of rotation whatsoever. You would really want this green and this red to be much closer together, coupled together, showing that spin that we get in the atmosphere. And so that right now is approaching the interstate, but still coming into, I mean, Oldenburg, you're just beyond this. Even Batesville, especially on the west side of town, you're pretty much good on this. You know how it is. Like your town kind of expands here and goes along the interstate and extends pretty far. So that's still underneath where that rotation is. Sunman, you're a little south of the rotation at this point. And I'll go back to radar because I know the rotation isn't the most glaringly obvious thing showing up here in these scans, but there's no doubt that we've definitely got a good little thunderstorm popping through there. So the heaviest of the rain right now is over State Road 46 there at Penntown and St. Mary's Road. You've got the heaviest precipitation coming down in several neighborhoods there, actually just by the interstate. They're north of Spade. So this is heading into Highland Center. St. Mary's, Oak Forest, they'll be on the kind of very edge of this tornado warning here shortly. Down in Sunman, though, yes, you are in the tornado warning, but at this point, the worst part of the storm is north of you. You can see the newest scan coming in there, still seeing, again, this, I'll put a circle around it. This is the worst part of the thunderstorm. They're between Penntown and St. Mary's, so Highland Center, Lawrenceville, definitely heads up there. That's going to be a rough drive on the interstate right now for those that are out there. And as we tag this storm, and even just look at some of the indications that are being picked up from the National Weather Service. It's moving northeast, still about 43 miles per hour. The hail size, less than a ½ inch, so that's kind of true to form with what we've been seeing, but it's still moving pretty quickly. Brookville at 212, so approaching you then. Blooming Grove at 218, Fairfield at 221, as this will soon be moving into the area where we have that new severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued here in the tri-state. I'm going to check the chat, give you guys kind of a wide view as I check the chat, because again, got to keep going on air. It is a tornado warning there in portions of Ripley and Dearborn County, and as you kind of watch that in motion, you can see where that severe thunderstorm watch got issued. Hey, here's the good news. 156, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire early because, again, the rotation is not looking overly glaring. So at this point, I'm going to get you guys back to programming. Thanks for tuning in and getting the very latest information. If we get any additional warnings that come out of this line of thunderstorms, we'll be sure to get it to you right here on WCPO 9. That is the end of this 9 First Warning Weather Alert.